In the heart of California, Ethan was a beacon of promise. Just recently accepted into a prestigious school known for its rigorous academic standards and vibrant extracurricular programs, his parents, Linda and Mark, couldn't have been prouder. They envisioned a bright future for their son, filled with opportunities and achievements that would propel him into adulthood. On a warm Friday evening, they gathered around the dinner table, the air rich with the aroma of roast chicken and roasted vegetables, their laughter echoing through the cozy kitchen. "Ethan, we always knew you had it in you," Linda said, her eyes sparkling with pride. "This school will open so many doors for you." Mark chimed in, his voice warm and supportive. "Just remember, son, it's important to stay focused. There will be distractions. You need to keep your head clear." Ethan nodded, but a subtle tension lingered in the air. "I know, Dad. I'll be fine," he assured them, though a flicker of uncertainty crossed his face. He appreciated their encouragement but felt a growing pressure to fit in and make the most of his new environment. Later that night, as they cleared the table, Linda caught Ethan's gaze. "We just want you to be careful, Ethan. Peer pressure can be intense. If you ever feel overwhelmed, you can talk to us." "Yeah, I get it," Ethan replied, brushing off the concern. "I'll be careful. I promise." Yet, deep down, he felt the weight of expectation and the looming desire to fit in with his peers. The following day, as Ethan stepped into the bustling hallways of his new school, he was immediately drawn to a group of students who radiated an aura of confidence and rebellion. They congregated near the lockers, their laughter ringing out, bold and carefree. Their style was distinct: edgy clothing, colorful hair, and an undeniable air of nonchalance that piqued Ethan's interest. "Hey, you're Ethan, right?" One of them, a tall boy with a mischievous grin, called out. "You should hang out with us later. We're having a party this weekend. It'll be epic." Ethan felt a rush of excitement mixed with apprehension. He had never been one for parties, but the allure of being accepted into this new circle was enticing. "Yeah, sure. Sounds fun," he replied, his heart racing with the thrill of acceptance. As the day wore on, the thought of the party consumed him. He felt an inexplicable urge to go, imagining how it would feel to be part of something larger than himself. That evening, as he prepared to leave, he overheard his parents discussing his newfound friends. "Do you think he knows what he's getting into?" Mark asked, concern etched on his face. "I hope so. We can only guide him, the rest is up to him," Linda replied softly, her voice tinged with worry. Ethan, however, was already lost in a whirlwind of excitement, dismissing their concerns as he stepped out the door, the cool night air invigorating him. At the party, the atmosphere was electric. Music blasted from speakers, and colorful lights danced across the room. Ethan found himself swept into a world of laughter and loud conversations. He was quickly introduced to various substances that promised to heighten the night's euphoria. "Come on, just try it. You'll feel amazing," a girl with vibrant purple hair urged, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Ethan hesitated for a moment, but the thrill of the moment overshadowed his doubts. He took a deep breath and decided to give in, wanting nothing more than to feel that sense of liberation he had been craving. As he prepared to leave for the night, he received a text from his parents. "Be safe, Ethan. We love you." Their words echoed in his mind, a faint reminder of the concerns they had expressed. But in that moment, as he stepped out into the cool night, the thrill of the party and the intoxicating sense of freedom filled him. He was ready to embrace whatever came next, dismissing the warnings that lingered in the back of his mind. Mia, Ethan's younger sister, watched with growing concern as her brother transformed before her eyes. The vibrant, ambitious teenager she once knew seemed to fade away, replaced by a shadow of his former self. His laughter was becoming rare, and the spark in his eyes dulled with each passing day. She noticed the way he slouched in his chair, the way he barely engaged in family conversations, and how he increasingly avoided her presence. One afternoon, as they sat in the living room, Mia decided to confront him. "Ethan, can we talk?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she approached him, clutching her sketchbook tightly. He looked up from his phone, annoyance flickering across his face. "What's there to talk about, Mia?" "Infine." "No, you're not," she pressed, her heart racing. "I've seen how you've changed. You're not the same brother I used to look up to. I just want to help you." He rolled his eyes, pushing away from the couch. "Help me? You don't even know what I'm going through." Just leave me alone." Mia felt a rush of frustration and sadness as he turned his back on her. It was evident that no matter how hard she tried, Ethan was slipping further away, consumed by the new crowd that had taken over his life. The rebellious friends, the late nights, and the reckless choices were becoming his new reality, and she felt powerless to stop it. As days turned into weeks, the atmosphere at home grew tense. Their parents, Linda and Mark, were at a loss, grappling with the reality of their son's downward spiral. One evening, they sat in the kitchen, voices low but filled with urgency. "What are we going to do, Mark?" Linda asked, her hands trembling as she poured herself a cup of coffee. "I feel like we're losing him, and I don't know how to reach him." Mark buried his face in his hands, the weight of the world on his shoulders. "I've tried talking to him, but he just shuts us out. It's like he's living in a different world now. I never thought we'd have to deal with something like this." Linda sighed, looking out the window as the sun dipped below the horizon. "We have to do something. Maybe we should consider getting him professional help. This isn't just a phase, it's serious." "I don't want to push him away further," Mark replied, his voice heavy with worry. "What if he resents us for trying to control his life? And what if we don't do anything and lose him altogether?" Linda shot back, her voice rising with desperation. "I can't just sit here and watch him destroy himself." While their parents struggled to find a way forward, Mia felt a surge of determination. She couldn't stand by any longer, watching her brother succumb to the darkness that surrounded him. One evening, after school, she decided to join a support group for families dealing with addiction. As she entered the room filled with concerned parents and siblings, her heart raced. She felt a mix of anxiety and hope. An older woman, her eyes lined with tears, began to share her story. "I never thought my son would become addicted. He was so talented, just like Ethan. I thought I was doing everything right as a parent, but sometimes you just can't see the signs until it's too late." Mia listened intently, her heart aching for the woman and her son. Each story she heard echoed her own feelings of helplessness, but they also instilled a sense of purpose within her. She realized that she wasn't alone in this fight. There were others who shared her pain and confusion. After the session, she approached the group leader, a compassionate woman named Sarah. "How can I help my brother?" "He won't listen to me," Mia confessed, her voice trembling. Sarah placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes, the best thing you can do is to be there for him, even if he pushes you away. Let him know you care, and encourage him to talk when he's ready. You might also want to bring him to the next meeting. It could help him to see he's not alone." Mia nodded, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. As she walked home that evening, she resolved to fight for her brother, no matter how difficult it became. She knew that deep down, Ethan still had the potential to reclaim his life, and she would do everything in her power to guide him back to the light. Cody's house was buzzing with energy that night, the kind of wild excitement that only a high school party could bring. The music thumped loudly against the walls, and the laughter of teenagers filled the air, creating a chaotic symphony of adolescence. Ethan stood at the doorstep, his heart racing. He knew he shouldn't be here, but the allure of the crowd, his new friends, was too strong to resist. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, immediately enveloped by the intoxicating atmosphere. "Ethan, you made it!" Cody shouted, his face lighting up as he spotted his friend. Dressed in a loose t-shirt and jeans, he looked carefree, but Ethan noticed a hint of restlessness in his eyes. Ethan forced a smile, trying to ignore the nagging feeling in his gut. "Yeah, man." "Thanks for inviting me," Ethan replied, attempting to match Cody's enthusiasm. He scanned the room, taking in the sight of students dancing, laughing, and passing around drinks and small bags filled with colorful substances. A sense of dread washed over him, but he pushed it aside. This was what he wanted: acceptance, excitement, a break from reality. As the night wore on, Cody became increasingly animated, his energy almost infectious. "You've got to try this, Ethan. It'll blow your mind." He held out a small bag with a mischievous grin, his eyes glimmering with a reckless thrill. Ethan hesitated, the warnings from his parents echoing in his mind. But the pressure of fitting in, of not wanting to seem weak, overpowered his hesitation. "Come on, just one time won't hurt," Cody insisted, nudging Ethan's shoulder. The others in the room cheered him on, their voices blending into a chorus of encouragement. Ethan felt trapped, the weight of their expectations pressing down on him like a heavy blanket. He took the bag, his hands trembling slightly as he opened it. "Let's do it together," Cody exclaimed, his excitement palpable. Ethan nodded, his heart pounding as they both consumed the substance. At first, nothing happened. They laughed, shared stories, and danced with abandon. But then, a wave of euphoria washed over Ethan, and he felt as if he were floating. The music became a vibrant tapestry, enveloping him in its embrace. "See, isn't this amazing?" Cody shouted above the music, his face flushed with excitement. Ethan nodded, lost in the moment, the world around him blurring into a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. But as the night progressed, he noticed a change in Cody. His friend's laughter turned into erratic movements, his speech slurred and disjointed. "Dude, are you okay?" Ethan asked, concern creeping into his voice. Cody just waved him off, insisting he was fine. But as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that something was wrong. Suddenly, Cody collapsed to the ground, his body convulsing. The music screeched to a halt, and panic erupted in the room. "Cody, what's happening?" Ethan screamed, rushing to his friend's side, his mind racing. "Someone call an ambulance!" a girl shouted, her face pale as she crouched beside them. Ethan felt a rush of helplessness wash over him. He could see the fear in the eyes of the others, their laughter replaced by chaos and confusion. "Cody, stay with me," Ethan pleaded, shaking his friend gently. But Cody's eyes were rolling back, and his body was limp. The reality of the situation crashed down on Ethan like a tidal wave. He felt trapped in a nightmare, unable to wake up. As the sound of sirens filled the air, Ethan's heart sank deeper. He watched helplessly as paramedics arrived, their faces serious as they worked swiftly to stabilize Cody. "What have we done?" Ethan whispered to himself, the gravity of his choices pressing heavily on his chest. In the days that followed, as news of Cody's overdose spread through their small town, Ethan found himself drowning in regret. The vibrant life he had chased was now a haunting reminder of the precarious line he had crossed. He sat in his room, staring blankly at the walls, replaying the events of that night over and over. "Ethan!" his mother called softly from outside his door, her voice laced with concern. "Can we talk?" He hesitated, unsure of how to face his parents after everything that had happened. But as the weight of his choices bore down on him, he knew he had to confront the reality he had been avoiding. With a deep breath, he opened the door, ready to face the truth, whatever it may be. Ethan walked through the sterile halls of the hospital, his heart pounding in his chest. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered slightly, and the antiseptic smell filled his nostrils, a stark contrast to the carefree life he had been living just weeks ago. As he approached Cody's room, he felt a mix of dread and determination. Today was different. Today, he hoped for clarity. When Ethan stepped inside, he found Cody lying on the hospital bed, frail and pale. Monitors beeped rhythmically, a constant reminder of the life-and-death battle his friend was facing. Cody's eyes were closed, and for a moment, Ethan wondered if he would ever see the vibrant, reckless boy he once knew. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer. "Cody!" Ethan called softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Cody stirred and opened his eyes slowly, squinting against the harsh light. "Ethan!" His voice was hoarse, almost unrecognizable. "What are you doing here?" "I came to see you," Ethan replied, his throat tight. I had to know how you were doing." Cody shifted uncomfortably, glancing away. "Infine. Just recovering, I guess." "Recovering?" Ethan echoed, incredulous. "You almost died, man. This isn't just a bump in the road. You need help." Cody frowned, his expression a mix of defiance and vulnerability. "Help? You think I need help? Look at you. You're not any better." Ethan felt the sting of his friend's words, but he pushed through the hurt. "No, Cody, I'm not. I'm in the same hole you are. I thought I could handle it, but I was wrong. Watching you like this, it scares me. It makes me realize how close I am to losing everything." Cody's gaze softened, and for the first time, Ethan saw a flicker of the old Cody, the one who could light up a room with his energy. "I didn't think you'd care," he muttered, his voice barely audible. "Of course I care. You're my best friend. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to end up like you," Ethan confessed, feeling a wave of vulnerability wash over him. "But I can't do this alone. We need to fight this together." Cody turned his head away, staring at the ceiling as if searching for answers among the tiles. "I don't know if I can," he admitted quietly. "I'm scared." "Me too," Ethan said, his heart aching for the boy who had once been so fearless. "But we can't let fear win. Look at what we've done to ourselves. This isn't living, it's just surviving." The weight of Ethan's words hung in the air, and for a moment, silence enveloped them. Ethan watched as Cody's expression shifted from anger to sadness, vulnerability creeping in around the edges. "Do you really think we can change?" Cody asked, his voice trembling. "I have to believe that we can," Ethan replied, his heart racing as he spoke. "But we need to start now. No more running away. Let's fight this together." As they shared this moment of honesty, Ethan felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Maybe it wasn't too late for either of them. He could see the struggle in Cody's eyes, the desire to break free from the chains of addiction that bound him. Meanwhile, at home, Linda and Mark sat around the kitchen table, the atmosphere thick with worry and unspoken fears. They had been trying to connect with Ethan, but felt like they were losing him to the darkness that had engulfed his life. "Do you think he understands how serious this is?" Linda asked, her voice a mix of anxiety and exhaustion. Mark sighed deeply, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know. It's like he's in a different world, and no matter how hard we try, he just won't let us in. I just wish he would talk to us. Tell us what he's feeling," Linda said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I feel so helpless." "We need to find a way to reach him," Mark said, determination creeping into his tone. "Maybe we should try to have an open conversation, no accusations, just share our fears. Let him know we're here for him." "Do you really think that will work?" Linda asked, skepticism evident in her voice. "It's worth a shot," Mark replied, his voice firm. "He needs to know that we love him, no matter what. We can't give up on him." Back at the hospital, Ethan stood up, his resolve strengthening as he looked at Cody. "Let's make a pact," he said, his voice steady. "We fight this together. No matter how hard it gets, we don't let go of each other." Cody met his gaze, and for the first time, a genuine smile broke across his face, albeit a small one. "Okay. Together." In that moment, both boys felt the weight of their struggles lift slightly, as if a new path was unfolding before them. They had a long road ahead, but for the first time, they weren't facing it alone. Motivated by his recent reflections, Ethan found himself standing hesitantly outside the community center where Mia attended her support group. The air felt heavy with apprehension and hope as he recalled the stories of pain and resilience he had heard from his sister. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was filled with a diverse group of individuals, each carrying their own burdens, yet united by a common goal: healing. As he took a seat in the circle, Ethan listened to the sharing of stories. One participant, a middle-aged woman named Sarah, spoke about her son's struggle with addiction. "I felt so helpless watching him spiral down," she said, her voice quivering. "I just wanted to save him, but I didn't know how." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and Ethan felt a pang of recognition. He glanced at Mia, who sat across the room, her expression a mix of concern and encouragement. "Sometimes, all we can do is be there for them," another participant chimed in. "It's a long road, but support makes a difference." Each testimony resonated with Ethan, echoing his own fears and experiences. He felt a connection to the pain in the room, realizing he was not alone in this struggle. The warmth of shared vulnerability enveloped him, and for the first time in a while, he felt a flicker of hope. After several stories were shared, a mentor named David, who had once battled his own addiction, stood up. "I know what you're going through, Ethan," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. "I was in your shoes not too long ago. I lost everything, but I found my way back. It's possible, and you can do it too." David's words struck a chord deep within Ethan. Here was a man who understood the depths of his despair, yet had risen from the ashes. Ethan felt the urge to speak, a compulsion that had been building within him since he entered the room. He raised his hand, his heart racing. I've been struggling too," he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought I was just having fun, but it's taken over my life. I'm scared." The room fell silent as everyone turned to him, their eyes filled with empathy. "It's okay to be scared," David replied gently. "Acknowledging your fear is the first step toward healing. You've already made a courageous choice by being here." Encouraged by David's response, Ethan continued, "I want to change. I want to be better, not just for me, but for my family. They've suffered so much because of my choices." Mia's eyes sparkled with pride across the circle. She could see her brother beginning to break down the walls he had built around himself. "You're not alone in this, Ethan," she said softly, her voice carrying warmth. "We're all here for you." Feeling a rush of emotions, Ethan opened up further. "I miss the person I used to be. I don't want to keep hurting the people I love." The words flowed out of him, and he felt a weight lifting as he shared his fears and regrets. The participants nodded in understanding, their expressions a mirror of his own turmoil. As the session drew to a close, Ethan felt a bond forming with the group. He exchanged phone numbers with a few members, promising to meet outside the group to support one another further. David approached him afterward, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You've taken a significant step today," he said. "Remember, it's a journey. There will be ups and downs, but you have the strength to face them." Ethan left the community center with Mia by his side, a sense of purpose igniting within him. "I'm proud of you," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "You took a big step, and I know you can keep going." The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the California sky, symbolizing the new beginnings and hope that lay ahead. As they walked home, Ethan felt lighter, buoyed by the support he had found. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time, he felt ready to face it, not just for himself, but for his family who had stood by him through the darkest times. The journey of healing had begun, and with it came the promise of a brighter future. As days turned into weeks, Ethan began to recognize the profound changes within himself. His decision to distance himself from the friends who had lured him into the world of drugs was not easy, but with each passing day, he felt a sense of clarity and purpose. He started to reconnect with his family in ways he hadn't thought possible. The emotional distance that had once existed began to shrink, and he found solace in their presence. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Ethan walked into the art studio where Mia spent most of her time. The walls were splashed with colors, each canvas telling a story of its own. Mia looked up from her easel, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Hey, Ethan," she greeted, a hint of surprise in her voice. "What brings you here?" "I was thinking, maybe I could help you with that mural you've been working on," he suggested, his voice a mix of eagerness and uncertainty. Mia's face lit up. "Really? I'd love that. I could use an extra pair of hands. Plus, it'll be fun." She motioned for him to come closer, her excitement infectious. As Ethan stepped into the creative space, he felt a rush of inspiration. It had been a long time since he felt this way, alive, engaged, and connected. They started working side by side, splattering paint and sharing laughter. "Remember when we used to paint together as kids?" Mia asked, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "You always insisted on using the brightest colors, even if they didn't match." Ethan chuckled, recalling the countless afternoons spent in their backyard, making a mess with their creativity. "Yeah, I guess I've always had a thing for color," he replied, dipping his brush into a vibrant blue. "It's funny how life can get so gray sometimes. But I'm starting to see things differently now." As they painted, their conversation flowed effortlessly. Ethan opened up about the tumultuous journey he had experienced, the allure of his former friends, and the darkness that had clouded his mind. "I felt like I was just drifting, you know? But now, I want to create a life that's more than just escaping reality," he confessed, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Mia paused, her brush hovering above the canvas. "I'm so proud of you, Ethan. You're fighting for yourself, and that's more important than anything else. It takes a lot of courage to face those demons." "Thanks, Mia. I want to do better. For myself and for you," he said earnestly, glancing at the mural taking shape before them. "This piece represents our journey, our struggles, and our hope. I want it to be something we can look back at and remember how far we've come." As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the studio window, Linda and Mark arrived to check on their children. They stood in the doorway, watching as Ethan and Mia collaborated, their laughter mixing with the colors on the walls. "Look at them," Linda whispered to Mark, her eyes brimming with tears of relief and joy. They're together again. It's like seeing a part of Ethan we thought we lost. Mark nodded, a smile creeping onto his face. It's amazing how art can heal. I'm proud of him for doing this. Ethan noticed their presence and turned to face them, a wide smile breaking across his face. Hey, Mom, Dad, come see what we're working on. He gestured for them to join, his heart swelling with pride. As they stepped closer, Mark asked, "What's the theme of this mural?" "It's about our journey and the hope for a brighter future," Mia explained, her enthusiasm palpable. "We wanted to create something that symbolizes our strength as a family." Linda stepped forward, her fingers grazing the vibrant colors on the canvas. "It's beautiful," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I can feel the love and resilience in every stroke." Ethan felt a wave of warmth wash over him at his parents' words. For the first time in a long while, he sensed the bonds of their family tightening, weaving a tapestry of support and understanding. "I know I messed up, but I'm working on it. I want to be better for all of us," he said, his sincerity evident. Mark placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder, a gesture of unwavering support. "We believe in you, son. We're here every step of the way." As they continued to paint, the atmosphere was filled with laughter and love. The mural began to take shape, a vivid representation of their struggles and triumphs. Each brushstroke became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in darkness, light could find its way through. Together, they embraced the healing power of art and the importance of family, committed to facing the future united in strength and love. Ethan stood outside Cody's hospital room, his heart racing with a mix of anxiety and determination. The fluorescent lights cast a harsh glow in the corridor, reflecting the gravity of the situation. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to do. It had been a tumultuous journey for Ethan, one filled with the chaos of addiction and the painful realization of his own choices. Now, he felt an urgent need to take a step forward, not just for himself but for his friend. As he entered the room, he found Cody propped up against the pillows, looking frail and vulnerable. The once vibrant boy, full of life and laughter, was now a shadow of his former self. Ethan hesitated for a moment, taking in the sight of his friend, and then walked closer, his voice steady but soft. "Hey, Cody. It's me, Ethan." Cody turned his head slowly, his eyes clouded with confusion and a hint of recognition. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" he croaked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I came to see you," Ethan replied, sitting on the edge of the bed. He could see the weariness etched on Cody's face. "I wanted to talk about everything that's been going on." Cody shifted uncomfortably, avoiding Ethan's gaze. "There's nothing to talk about. I messed up, and now I don't know what to do." Ethan felt a pang of sympathy for his friend. He remembered the nights they had spent laughing, the dreams they had shared, and how quickly everything had spiraled out of control. "I get it, man. I've been there too. I've faced my own demons," he said, his voice gaining strength. "But I've learned something important. We don't have to go through this alone. There's help out there." Cody looked up, his eyes widening slightly. "You're talking about rehab, right? I don't know if I'm ready for that." "Neither was I," Ethan admitted, his eyes earnest. "But I realized that facing it is the only way to start healing. I lost myself for a while, but I'm trying to find my way back. I want you to find your way back too." Cody's expression shifted, uncertainty mingling with a glimmer of hope. "You really think I can? After everything?" "Absolutely," Ethan replied, leaning closer. "You're stronger than you think. Remember all those times we talked about our dreams? You wanted to be a musician, to share your music with the world. That's still possible, Cody. But you have to fight for it." Cody's eyes began to glisten with unshed tears. "It feels so far away now. I don't even know where to start." Ethan reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Cody's shoulder. "You start by taking it one day at a time. Let's do this together. I'll be here for you, every step of the way." For the first time, Cody allowed himself to truly consider Ethan's words. "You really mean it?" he asked, vulnerability in his voice. "Of course," Ethan replied, feeling a surge of determination. "You're not alone in this. I'll be here to help you through the tough days and celebrate the victories, no matter how small. Cody nodded slowly, a flicker of resolve igniting within him. Okay, let's do it. I want to try. Ethan smiled, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. That's the spirit. We'll get through this together, I promise. As they talked, a bond began to form anew, one that had been overshadowed by darkness but was now illuminated by the light of hope and friendship. Ethan realized that this moment could be a turning point for both of them. With newfound determination, he committed himself to not only his recovery but also to being the support that Cody desperately needed. Let's make a pact, Ethan suggested, his eyes shining with optimism. No matter what happens, we'll keep each other accountable. We'll lean on each other when times get tough. Cody offered a small smile, and for the first time in a long while, there was a sense of possibility in the air. I like that. A pact. With that simple agreement, they began to build a path forward, one filled with challenges but also with hope. The journey of recovery wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt that they were not just fighting their battles alone, they were in this together. In the heart of California, the school community rallied around Cody during his rehabilitation, and Ethan emerged as a beacon of hope and resilience. After witnessing the harrowing journey of his friend, he had transformed from a troubled teen to a symbol of perseverance. The halls of the school were abuzz with whispers of his bravery, and many students looked to him for inspiration. Ethan found himself not only coping with his own past mistakes but also ready to support others in their struggles. One afternoon, during a school assembly, Ethan stood nervously backstage, his heart racing at the thought of addressing his peers. He had been invited to share his story, and the gravity of the moment weighed heavily on him. As he stepped into the spotlight, he could see familiar faces in the audience. Some were friends, others were classmates who had once looked down on him. Taking a deep breath, he began, "Thank you all for being here today. I stand before you not as someone who has it all together, but as someone who has learned the hard way about the depths of addiction and the power of recovery." As he spoke, Ethan felt the initial tension in his shoulders ease. "I was once lost, chasing a high that promised freedom but only trapped me deeper in darkness. I thought I was invincible, running with a crowd that didn't care about the consequences." He glanced at Mia, who sat in the front row, her eyes brimming with pride and concern. "But I realized that true strength lies in vulnerability and seeking help. My sister didn't give up on me, even when I pushed her away. It was her art, her love, that reminded me of who I wanted to be." The crowd was silent, hanging on his words. He continued, "Cody is fighting his own battle now, and I want to honor him by sharing this message. It's okay to ask for help. We're not meant to face our demons alone." A wave of applause erupted, and Ethan felt a surge of confidence. Let's support one another. Let's create a community where we lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. Meanwhile, Mia was deeply moved by her brother's courage. Inspired, she had been working on a painting that encapsulated their family's journey, a vibrant mural that depicted the struggle against addiction, intertwined with themes of love, hope, and resilience. That evening, as she worked in her room, the paintbrush glided across the canvas, each stroke a testament to their shared experience. She envisioned the finished piece, an embodiment of their battles and triumphs, and felt an overwhelming urge to incorporate Ethan's journey into her art. The next day, after Ethan's stirring speech, Mia approached him with an idea. "Ethan, I want to dedicate my next piece to you and Cody. It'll be called Rising Together. What do you think?" Ethan's eyes lit up. "That sounds amazing, Mia. It's like we're not just recovering for ourselves, but for each other." Mia nodded, her creativity ignited. "Exactly. I want to capture the strength we found in our family and friends. It'll show how love can conquer even the darkest moments." As they collaborated, Ethan painted alongside Mia, helping her bring their vision to life. Each day after school, they worked on the mural, infusing it with colors that represented their emotions: blue for sadness, red for passion, and gold for hope. Their laughter echoed in the studio as they reminisced about their childhood, the challenges they faced, and the bond that had grown stronger through adversity. Weeks passed, and the mural began to take shape. The school community buzzed with excitement, eager to see the final piece that would be unveiled at the upcoming art exhibition. Ethan felt a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a victim of circumstance, but a catalyst for change. As the exhibition day approached, he realized that this journey had not only salvaged his life, but had also forged an unbreakable connection with Mia and their family. On the day of the exhibition, the school gymnasium was packed. Parents, teachers, and students mingled, their faces lit with anticipation. When the moment came to unveil the mural, Ethan and Mia stood side by side, their hearts pounding. As the curtain dropped, gasps filled the room. The mural depicted a phoenix rising from ashes, surrounded by vibrant scenes of unity and hope. Ethan took a deep breath and addressed the crowd once more. "This mural represents all of us, the struggles we face, the love we share, and the resilience to rise again. Let's continue to support each other and break the stigma surrounding addiction. Together, we can create a brighter future." Mia's heart swelled with pride as she watched her brother shine. The applause that followed was deafening, echoing a message of solidarity, healing, and the undeniable power of love. Ethan and Cody had come a long way since their tumultuous past, both emerging from the shadows of addiction into the light of recovery. They found purpose in their shared journey and decided to channel their experiences into a school program aimed at raising awareness about the dangers of drug use. One crisp afternoon, the two young men stood in front of a group of students at their high school, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. "Hey everyone, thanks for being here," Ethan began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. He glanced at Cody, who nodded encouragingly. "We know that many of you face pressure every day. Pressure to fit in, to try things just to be accepted. We've been there. We're here to share our story, hoping that maybe it can help someone out there." Cody took a deep breath, his hands slightly trembling but his resolve unwavering. "I remember my first party. The thrill, the laughter, and then, everything took a dark turn. I lost friends, I lost myself. I didn't think it could happen to me, but it did." The audience was silent, captivated by their honesty. Ethan continued, "It's easy to think drugs are just a way to escape or to have fun. But for many, like us, it's a slippery slope. We got lost, but we found a way back, and we want you to know it's possible." As they shared their stories, Ethan felt a weight lift off his shoulders. The shame and guilt that had once consumed him were now replaced with a sense of empowerment. He could see nods of understanding among the students, and he hoped they were absorbing the message. "Every choice you make defines your future," Ethan said, his voice growing stronger. "And it's okay to ask for help. We both did, and it made all the difference. It's not a weakness, it's a strength." After the presentation, a wave of students approached them, some with tears in their eyes. One girl, Sarah, stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for sharing. I felt so alone with my struggles. Hearing you both makes me feel like I'm not the only one." Cody smiled warmly. "You're definitely not alone. We've all faced our battles. Just remember, there's always hope, and there's always help." As the weeks progressed, Ethan's relationship with his family deepened. He and Mia spent more time together, often painting murals that depicted their journey of recovery and hope. One sunny Saturday, they stood in their backyard, paintbrushes in hand, working on a piece that symbolized resilience. "Mia, this is turning out amazing," Ethan said, stepping back to admire their work. "You've got such a talent for capturing emotions." Mia beamed at the compliment. "Thanks, Ethan. It's easy when the inspiration comes from our story. We've been through so much, but look at us now." They shared a moment of silence, reveling in the beauty of their creation. Then Ethan broke it. "I just hope we can keep this momentum going. I want to help others like us, like Cody. There's so much work to be done." Mia nodded, her expression serious. "We will. We can't let our experiences fade away. We've got to keep fighting, keep sharing." Meanwhile, Ethan's bond with his parents, Linda and Mark, flourished as well. They began to have open discussions about their fears and hopes for the future. One evening, as they gathered around the dinner table, Mark looked at Ethan with a mix of pride and concern. "I see the changes in you, son. But I also want you to know that it's okay to struggle. You don't have to be perfect." Ethan felt a warmth spread through him at his father's words. "Thanks, Dad. I'm still figuring things out, but I promise to be honest with you guys. I don't want to hide anything anymore." Linda reached over, squeezing Ethan's hand. "We're so proud of you, Ethan. You're brave, and that's what matters. Just remember that we're here for you, always." As Ethan reflected on his journey, he realized how far he had come, but he also understood that recovery was not just a destination, it was a continuous journey. He felt a sense of responsibility to help others who might be struggling. However, just when he thought everything was falling into place, an unexpected challenge arose. During one of the support group meetings, a close friend from the group faced a setback, dealing with a relapse that shook the foundation of their newfound community. Ethan felt a pang of fear and concern as he witnessed the struggle of someone he had come to care for deeply. "Cody, we need to be there for him," Ethan said to his friend, urgency in his tone. "We can't let him feel alone in this. We've been through similar situations. We can help him find his way back." Cody nodded, determination in his eyes. "You're right, Ethan. We've made it this far together. We can't give up on anyone now." Together, they prepared to support their friend, knowing that the road ahead would test their resolve and commitment to their mission of helping others while continuing to heal themselves. As they stepped into the unknown, Ethan felt a surge of hope, knowing that love and understanding could create ripples of change, even in the darkest moments. In the heart of California, the sun was setting, casting a warm glow across Ethan's backyard. He stood with Mia, his younger sister, both staring at the blank canvas of the mural they had decided to create together. This mural was more than just paint on a wall. It was a representation of their journey, filled with struggles, hope, and the unwavering bond of family. "Ethan, are you sure about this?" Mia asked, her paintbrush hovering above the canvas. "I mean, it's a big step. What if it brings back memories you want to forget?" Ethan took a deep breath, reflecting on the whirlwind of emotions that had consumed him over the past year. "Mia, I need to do this. I want to show everyone that there's a way out. If I can help just one person understand that recovery is possible, then it's worth it." As they began to paint, the colors began to swirl and blend, mirroring the chaos and beauty of their lives. Ethan recalled the intervention they had held just a few days prior. It had been a tense but necessary moment for one of their friends, Jake, who had been spiraling into addiction. They had gathered friends and family, creating a circle of support that enveloped Jake with warmth and understanding. "Ethan, I can't do this," Jake had shouted, his voice cracking with fear. "You don't understand. I'm fine. I don't need help." Ethan had stepped forward, his heart pounding. "But you're not fine, Jake. I thought I was fine too, until I wasn't. I lost so much just trying to escape. You're not alone in this. Let us help you." The room had fallen silent, the tension palpable. Mia, standing beside Ethan, had added softly, "We love you, Jake. We're here for you, no judgment. Just love." The memory of Jake's tear-streaked face, the moment he finally relented, accepting their help, filled Ethan with a renewed sense of purpose. "We can change lives, Mia. We really can." Mia smiled, finding strength in her brother's determination. "And this mural will show that change is possible. It's a symbol of hope." As they painted, Ethan reminisced about the support they had received from their parents, Linda and Mark. They had been hesitant at first, struggling to navigate the tumultuous waters of their son's addiction. But through it all, they had found common ground, coming together as a family determined to fight for Ethan's recovery. "Ethan, we're proud of you," Linda had said one night over dinner, her voice thick with emotion. "We know it's been hard, but seeing you fight for your future means everything to us." Mark had added, "We're in this together. You're not alone anymore." Now, as Ethan mixed vibrant colors on the palette, he felt the weight of their love lifting him. His past felt like a distant memory, a shadow slowly fading away. He turned to Mia. "What do you think we should add next?" Mia pointed to a blank space on the mural. "How about a sunrise? It represents new beginnings." Ethan nodded, feeling the excitement build within him. "Yes, it'll symbolize hope and the promise of a better day." With each stroke of the brush, they transformed the canvas into a beautiful representation of their journey, a blend of dark and light, struggle and triumph. They painted a large sun rising above a colorful landscape, surrounded by figures holding hands, representing unity and support. As they stepped back to admire their work, Ethan felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. "This is just the beginning, Mia. There's so much more we can do." Mia beamed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We can start a community project, get others involved, share our story, and inspire change." Ethan's heart raced at the thought. "Yes, we'll organize workshops, art therapy sessions, anything to help others who are struggling." Their vision of a brighter future began to take shape, not just for themselves but for others who faced similar battles. They had transformed their pain into purpose, and in that moment, surrounded by each other's unwavering support, Ethan knew they were stronger together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the siblings stood side by side, united in their mission. The mural, a testament to their resilience, glowed with promise, a beacon of hope for all those willing to fight for their lives.